I want to get back to this part of the New Testament now, and deal in part two here about how Christians should look at the Ten Commandments today. And you'll have to look at part one. This being part two, you need to look at part one to see where the Old Testament Ten Commandments in the historical setting were never given to the church. I mean, I would defy anyone anywhere to show me where the Old Testament Ten Commandments and the Old Testament law, that whole covenant, how it applied to any Christian ever. It didn't. It was only given to the nation of Israel. I mean, that is so plain. I don't see how Sabbatarians missed that. But yet, for over 150 years, there's one organization who's Sabbatarians who does not have a scholar who has any clue about what the Bible teaches. That's just simple as that. They don't have one scholar in the entire organization that has a clue as to what the Bible is teaching, and have confused a lot of people over this. In fact, they will make comments on my videos, and for 2 years I've asked Sabbatarians. They will come in there, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. And I said, well, what does that mean to you? You know, in 2 years I've not had one Sabbatarian, and these are Seventh-day Adventists, by the way, I've not had one of them tell me what that verse means. They don't have any idea what it means. They think that when they look at the word commandments, that it means the Ten Commandments. And that's how childish and immature they are. They think every time they see the word commandment in the Bible, that it refers to the Ten Commandments. And that is just as totally as wrong as it can be. When Jesus said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments, Seventh-day Adventist, he wasn't talking about the Ten Commandments. I defy any Seventh-day Adventist to show me that he was talking about the Ten Commandments there. He wasn't talking about the Ten Commandments. Christians, when he said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments, he wasn't talking about the Ten Commandments. They weren't even in his mind when he said that. Now then, with that said, how do we look at the Ten Commandments today? If you want to go back and obey the Old Testament Ten Commandments the way they were written, then you will always stay on the floor when it comes to Christianity. But if you want to be elevated above that to where Christ wants you to be, you will look at what he had to say about those. You see, Sabbatarians, all of those things were renewed by Christ except the Sabbath command. There's no place in the entire Old Testament, Sabbatarians, show me where it is. No place where it was ever given to Gentiles. No place. There is absolutely no place in the New Testament where the Sabbath command of the Old Testament was ever given to the church. It's not there. There's absolutely no command in the New Testament for Christians to observe the Old Testament Sabbath. Show me, Sabbatarians, where is it? Where is the command in the New Testament to observe the Old Testament Sabbath? It's not there. Do you not have a scholar who can see that? And when you listen to them, do you always take their word for it? Oh, yep, that's right. And you never have the brain to go investigate these things for yourself? The Sabbath command is nowhere in the New Testament for Christians to observe. But the other commandments are there. But here's the thing about it. They've been elevated to a higher level for Christians. And that's why I said that if people want to roll around on the floor and just not do the Ten Commandments, I want to be elevated to where Christ wanted me to be and not even think about breaking them. There is the difference, Christians. The Old Testament Ten Commandments were never written in the heart and were never taken to the heart. Jesus is telling us, especially in the Sermon on the Mountain, I'm not telling you to not just do them. I'm telling you, don't even think about doing it. Because if you think about killing your brother, Jesus is saying it's the same thing as doing it to me. So Christians, Jesus took those Ten Commandments and he raised them to an entire different level for us than they were ever given to anyone in the Old Testament. Sabbatarians are sitting back here thinking, I'm not going to kill anybody. Christians are thinking, I'm not even going to think about killing anybody. Sabbatarians are sitting back here thinking, I am not going to commit adultery. Christians are at a higher level saying, I'm not going to even think about committing adultery. Sabbatarian is sitting back here. I am not going to go steal my neighbor's things. Christians have been raised to a higher level. We're not going to even think about stealing our neighbor's things. You see, Christians, where I'm getting at? Jesus Christ radically changed the law. He radically changed them for Christians. The Sabbath command was never in the entire Bible, from beginning to end, ever given to the Christian community. Because Jesus Christ has become our rest. And when we follow the commandments of Christ, we don't even think about doing those things: killing, adultery, stealing, dishonoring God, dishonoring father and mother. Because Jesus Christ lifted us off the floor to a whole different level than the entire rest of the world. He's telling you, Christians, don't even think it. He's telling you, Christians, don't even think about killing. Don't even think about adultery. Don't even think about stealing. And in that respect, we have been raised to an entirely different level than those who want to waller in the floor will ever be raised to, until they come to an understanding that Jesus Christ wants them lifted off that floor as well and placed on a level don't even think about doing it. I hope in some way that has cleared it up. Until next time, this has been Golly saying, God bless.